every day something new comes out about the Section 31 movie that's going to be dropping on Paramount Plus in January that just is like, oh gosh, what a disaster this is. Now, I've actually talked to somebody at CBS who's done a screening of this too, and pretty bad stuff that is coming down the pipeline. I mean, if you've watched the trailer, you know it went across the internet. Nerdrotic actually took a clip from the trailer and then posted on X where the trailer actually had the dialogue saying, "It's gonna be bad." and then he captioned it and put it there and said, well, at least they're aware of themselves. And it seems like they really are. One of the stars of the film actually admits it's not the Trek people want. So they know. These people absolutely know they're not making something that people want at this point. It's really weird watching the cope on this in this interview from the actor, which we'll get into his real words in just a moment, because this is kind of ridiculous that he went out there with this as promotion right ahead of the film. All right, hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things in science fiction. I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I really hate what they've done with the brand. Of course, I'm making my own science fiction as a result. This is my Stars Entwined series, guys. It is a 3-book Irishan War trilogy, and it does definitely have that great Star Trek feel for you. If you like Deep Space Nine, if you like all those, infiltration episodes that they did in Next Generation and the like, this will be the series for you. So Earth's got a spy. He is embedded on an alien starship in the middle of a war. There are mysterious people. He's trying to learn more about them, and it gets absolutely crazy as the 3 books go along. Now, I'm going to be making a space exploration trilogy next year that stems from this world, so get started on my books today. If you love Star Trek science fiction, this is going to be a great spot for you. It's available on ebook, print, and audio. Get the whole trilogy, guys. It really builds up so nicely, and I appreciate you for reading. That's in the description below for you. So, early signs point to big trouble for Paramount Plus streaming movie, Section 31. As actor Robert Kaczynski says he's terrified of fans, and it might not feel like Star Trek. Oh my gosh. Well, no duh. You can look at all of their promotional material, this image included. I mean, this set looks like nothing to do with Star Trek. It's just generic dark sci-fi. If you remember, like the Dark Matter show or Killjoys on the Sci-Fi Channel, I know not a lot of people watch those, but it feels like those, like these brands that are just like off brands that have like a generic sci-fi setting. It's not a Star Trek setting anymore. And it's really, really sad that they've done this. I mean, it's pretty crazy how they've all gone along. It's not going very well. I just looked at the official trailer this morning. It's got 2.2 million views, but if you look at the likes and dislikes right now, it's not going well for them. This is like a almost 5-to-1 ratio that they've got here, and the comments just absolutely savage the trailer as something they don't want. Well, and it is nothing that they want. If you don't know the backstory behind this, like, it spins out of Star Trek Discovery, another failed show that nobody watched and already got canceled. And this character, Michelle Yeoh, actually played a mirror universe version of her original character, where she was captain of the starship. And this mirror universe savage character was like up there in that evil empire on the mirror universe, and she came over to our universe and then joined Starfleet as a Section 31 agent, and this spins out of that. Yes, it is like deep cut lore of like a tertiary character of Star Trek Discovery. Why would you make this film? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, unless you're just intentionally trying to torch the brand at this point. I don't understand what they're thinking. Now, this Kaczynski guy actually went to New York Comic Con and talked about his character earlier in the year. And you can see, again, it just doesn't feel like Star Trek. Look at this like ridiculous marketing. But he said, I play Zeph in Section 31, and I'm entirely unfit for Starfleet. Oh, cool. Yeah, that sounds like a great heroic character. Yay. Something to root for. But I don't really make up my own mind. I just do whatever he tells me to do, whether it's good, bad, great, ugly, nice. It doesn't matter. I'll smash whatever he points me at. I'll break whatever he points me at. That's not very Star Trek whatsoever. It is not exploring strange new worlds. It's not using your scientific mind to like enrich humanity. It's not about human exceptionalism at all. It's just a stupid generic sci-fi action movie, again, in like this dark universe that has nothing to do with Star Trek. And this is the whole problem. It's very obvious at this point, all the weird diversity casting and all the other crap aside, that even just like the tone of this Alex Kurtzman Star Trek just doesn't work for the series and what it's trying to accomplish. Gene Roddenberry would be spinning in his grave about this, just this comment right here. Now, he actually gave an interview for SFX magazine, and he talked about this whole situation. And he said, I'm terrified about how it's going to be received because it's not the Trek people want. Well, full stop right there. I should have done the record scratch. I'll fix it and edit maybe so it'll go for you and be like a real YouTuber. But I'm an author, guys. I don't do fancy stuff here. I just call it like it is about these sci-fi properties because I understand it. Now, it's not the Trek people want. They're admitting right away they're making this film that is something nobody wants, that Trek people are not interested in, and they're going to go forward and do it anyway. And he's terrified of how it's going to be received, obviously, because it's already being received poorly. Section 31 is the dumbest idea you could have possibly imagined, even without like the window dressing that looks bad, without the characters that look bad, with the plot that's stupid, the characters nobody cares about. Just like taking Section 31 as a concept, which is a niche thing from a couple of Deep Space Nine episodes, and then turning it into something at a different timeline point that's actually spinning out of Discovery is just so stupid as a concept by itself. If I owned this property and I wanted to make money off of Star Trek as a corporation, I would have been like, absolutely not. You're not going to do this. This is the worst idea I've ever heard. Pitch something else. My gosh. But unfortunately, these people apparently are not interested in making money. They apparently are not interested in producing the Trek that people want. And it's so bizarre. I can't imagine why Paramount would have even greenlit this. Now, Alex Kurtzman is apparently just doubling down on everything that people hate in Star Trek that he's done for his iterations of the shows through Discovery, through Picard, and the weird shorts that have been out there. This is what he wants. This is his vision. It's not Roddenberry's vision, and it really shows. And you can go into this as he talks more about this. This is what Kaczynski says more about this. The Trek that people want, the Trek we all want, and this is the craziest part. They know what people want is just 1,000 more episodes of The Next Generation. Everyone's always furious they're not getting more TNG, whilst at the same time, when TNG came out, everybody hated it. Well, full stop there. TNG was wildly successful. It did very, very well. In fact, as it was going on, it was making $50 million in like $1990 in advertising revenue alone. The licensing and merchandising was off the charts. They called it a cash cow for Paramount at the time. That's why it went into feature films. That's why they greenlit a spin-off in Deep Space Nine right away, and they even started working on Voyager once there were 2 Star Treks on the air. They were putting a third show out there to try to flood the market as much as they possibly could because it was making so much money hand over fist and people loved these characters so much. Wow. I guess Kaczynski, you're not exactly telling the truth here. Now, this is the truth that this is the Trek that people want. And you can see this in Star Trek Picard and the reaction that people had. The first couple of seasons was a bastardization of Picard. It was emasculating Picard while a bunch of like lesbian women ran around in space doing things better than he ever could do. And it was just insulting to Star Trek fans. When they put out the 3rd season, that was exactly what Star Trek fans wanted. Now, we don't have to do exactly The Next Generation. I mean, what spun out of that was an idea called Star Trek Legacy, where there was going to be like an Enterprise F, and maybe Picard's son and Beverly's son would be on that. That would be a pretty cool idea. It would work out pretty well. And in fact, they did do another TNG. It was called Star Trek Voyager. And while Voyager wasn't perfect, it did pretty well, and people mostly liked it because it felt like Star Trek. And that's all you have to do. You just have to capture the same feel. The Next Generation actually set itself 100 years in the future and made Star Trek Star Trek. It still was about exploring strange new worlds in Roddenberry's vision, and that's why it worked. If you did an Enterprise F or an Enterprise G or whatever you wanted to do with it and set it another 100 years in the future after TNG, just to separate it, or even 30 or 50 years, you'd be fine. In fact, I'd do it 30 or 50 years just so you can have these guys make cameo appearances periodically. It's pretty easy to do. Like I said, these people know what you want. They know what Star Trek should be about, and they are just brazenly not doing it intentionally. It's like it's a humiliation ritual for the fans. Absolutely crazy. So this is what he said. So this is going to come along, and it's not going to feel like any Star Trek that they've ever seen. Well, I think it's going to feel like Star Trek Discovery, Kaczynski, but it's going to be something that is not Star Trek appropriate, especially for this era where everybody's supposed to be in those red movie uniforms, and it's supposed to be pretty clean and classy Starfleet, like right after the Kirk and company are gone. This is like, it's got Rachel Garrett, who's supposed to be the Enterprise Sea captain later, who's supposed to be in it, and she's like got blue hair now for some reason. It's just like, it's very much insulting fans is really what it's going to be. My fear was that it might not feel like Star Trek at all, and it doesn't. Obviously, it doesn't. He's saying it doesn't. So for you to tell me that it feels like Star Trek while being a completely flavor of Trek encourages me. In my 10 years' time, we'll look back at it. We'll love every single one of these Treks. What? Okay, people already don't like Discovery. It's low rated. Nobody's ever going to watch it again. Companies won't pick it up for syndication. It is just terrible. It's a disaster. Nobody loves it whatsoever. Lower Decks wore out its welcome as well, and this is going to be the most hated Star Trek of all time, which is hard to do after Discovery, but for some reason they're going forward with it. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know what they're thinking here, but hey, this is what they're going forward with. They're telling you that Star Trek fans won't like it in advance. They know it. They also know what Star Trek fans want, and they're intentionally not giving it to you. Wow, what an insult. It sucks to be a Star Trek fan, doesn't it? Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button, and please grab my Stars Entwined. If you're a Star Trek fan, this has the feel. You're going to love it. And of course, the new stuff that I'm writing right now, even more so. I really would love to have you on board. Join us today. Get this and get the whole trilogy. It's available on ebook, print, and audio. Thank you so much for reading.